long been silenced. You have dealt me many questions. I have not given you any answers. And yet now, back from the past, I'm here. You have given me 7 questions. I will answer them as best I can. Nice new jazzy intro, don't you think? Question 1 is from BradyFan4. Hey, I was just wondering, since you're a huge KR fan, were you ever a Dukes of Hazzard fan? No, Brady, I can honestly say that I wasn't. But I did watch the first Dukes of Hazzard movie that had Sean William Scott in, and in all fairness, I've never watched a proper episode of the original Dukes of Hazzard, so it's not my place to say whether it was good or bad. But I had seen the movie. Whether you're a fan or not, if you come in, just come as a neutral spectator, it's an entertaining movie. Why they never got Sean for the follow-up, because I honestly thought he was decent in that movie, but that's for another time. And Jessica Simpson did the one thing that she was good at doing for once, wearing a pair of Daisy Dukes. No pun intended. We move on, and the next 3 questions are from Animal Lover 300. Sheesh, I must have been really down on my quota for questions that month. But it has been about 5 months since the last one. But anyway, question 2. What do you think of excessively long films like Schindler's List, Once Upon a Time in America, and Return of the Kings? Do you mind sitting through them? The question is, no, I don't mind. The answer to that is, no, I don't mind sitting through them. Schindler's List is arguably one of the best movies that Steven Spielberg has directed to date. It's one of those movies. If he tried to do it in a similar fashion to how most movies are done, which is done for like 90 minutes, it wouldn't quite get the same effect. I mean, it's the same. If Chris Nolan had done The Dark Knight to be an hour and a half, he wouldn't have told the story like the way he would have wanted it to be done. Once Upon a Time in America, I cannot honestly say I have seen it, but I do hear people give it some good positive feedback, so only go by word of mouth. And Return of the King, arguably the best movie of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I sat through all 3 of them. The first one I ever saw was the second movie. It was good. Third movie was better, but vicariously by the same token, the first one really helps establish the premise, the plot, and the characters, and why you grow to like them later. His second question is, what is the best and worst remake of a film you've ever seen? Best and worst. Well, I honestly think, what's the best remake? I don't think I've actually ever seen remakes. Well, I have seen a remake. It's when James Cameron did Titanic in '97. Now, I will confess I'm not really a huge follower of the Titanic legend. I mean, I watch it if it's on. And I have seen bits of the original movies, like A Night to Remember and the SOS Titanic, I believe was in 1957. And they were fairly decent movies. I think if they had taken out the love story from James Cameron's version, it would have been a little bit shorter, and at the same time it would not necessarily have garnered the effect that he was trying to go for in that movie. But that was the best remake. As for worst remake, I've not seen many remakes down the years, but no, in fairness, I can't answer the last part of that question, because I haven't seen many remakes, so unfortunately I can't answer that part. Sorry, dude. And he has a bonus question. Gordon Brown, Clint Eastwood, Sarah Jessica Parker, shag, marry, or kill? None. Right, we move on to question 5. And it's from my good buddy Firebird Freak 87. How you doing, by the way? If you could go to any point in the future, past, or the past, where would you go and why? There's actually quite a few points I'd like to go to in time. I mean, I think we'd all be lying if any of us said we did not want to go to the future, like they did in Back to the Future Part 2, where they went to 2015 and everything's so futuristic. We've got flying cars, we've got laces that do themselves up, jackets that dry themselves up, and those hoverboards from Mattel. And I said this once, and I'm going to say it again. Mattel, we're 5 years away. We want those we want those hoverboards, and Nike, we want those power laces. But to any point in the past, I mean, obviously, yeah, I'd love to go back to the 80s and, actually experience it for myself as an adult. The kind of culture, actually experience movies for the first time when they were made. I mean, as nice as it is to see things digitally remastered, it'd also be nice just to, get it from a first-time perspective. And the only other point I'd like to go back in time is, as some of you have noticed on my other channel, MJ Knight Productions, I have become, I wouldn't say a bona fide train enthusiast. I'm just, if I happen to see a steam train at a railway station, I'll take photos, and if I happen to have my other camera, I'll capture footage of it, because steam train heritage is a big tourist trade these days. I mean, ever since they made the Tornado, which is like the first mainline steam locomotive in 50 years, steam trains have kind of been, a growing business. So, yeah, I'd like to go back to when they were more abundant, for want of a better term. Question 6 is directed from Bounty TH. Hey buddy, how you doing? Have you played any of the SmackDown vs. Raw games? Yes, I have. I've been playing wrestling games since WWF Warzone. WWF, not WWE. None of this corrective BS. I've been playing wrestling games for about the better part of 12 years, and I've played things like the Raw series when it was on the Xbox, and Mania 21, which I'd rather not talk about because that game was awful. I've been playing the Raw versus SmackDown. I don't do SmackDown versus Raw. It doesn't sound right. Raw versus SmackDown. That sounds better. But anyway, off the point. I played 2007. Thought it was a decent game. Played bits of 2008. 2009. Played at a buddy's house, and that was decent. But 2010, quite honestly, is the best by far. But it's doing things PG. I prefer the era of Attitude, where you could say more or less what you wanted, within the area that they were allowed to conduct their business in and be able to get away with it. But now this whole PG guidance thing, the tips era, it sucks. And finally, question 7 is from SSand4. Do movies just premiere earlier in the UK, or are you going to special sneak preview screens for your movie watch reviews? Because you seem to be able to see them and post reviews 2 to 5 days before the release date. Now, some of this I can actually give some good reasons for this. Some movies, for whatever reason, get released here in the UK before they do in the US. I don't know why it works like that. All I know is, on occasion, it does. And I think I know what you're getting at, with things like Kick-Ass, because that actually got released in the United Kingdom at least a good 2 to 3 weeks before the Americans got it. I can see where you're getting at, and, there are times where movies get released at the same time in the UK as it does in the States, and as you pointed out, where sometimes you get a movie release that's the UK gets it before America. Another example is when Revenge of the Fallen got released. I mean, originally we were supposed to get it the same day as the States were supposed to get it, which was June 26th, but for whatever reason it got released a week early on the 19th of June. Am I going to complain? Hell no! But I don't always get it out for those release dates, and to answer the question completely, no, I don't go to sneak previews. I would like to, but given the sort of work that I do outside of my YouTube and Blip pages, it's having to fit everything around my schedule, because I appreciate that I don't update as frequently as I used to, but I do this because I enjoy doing it. This is my passion. This is my hobby. I love to be entertaining on YouTube and Blip, and if you guys love it, if some of you guys don't like it, That's fine. I ain't gonna hate on you for it, but for those that love and appreciate what I do and are patient enough to wait to, see what I do, love you guys for it. And this ain't no line of BS. I really do appreciate that. That is your 7 questions. I have given you 7 answers. You know the usual drill. You want to ask a question? PM me. Pop a message on my channel, or put a message in the box below. But until then, MJ Knight Q&A out.